I'm just coming to you today to talk to you about expository essays and how to write them, specifically how to do the pre-planning form with thinking maps. A couple things you need to know about expository essays. First of all, there's generally two types, how and why. Explain how something happens and explain why something happens. So, to give you an example, our last curriculum assessment, y'all wrote 2 expositories and 1 narrative. One of your expositories was write an essay explaining why it is important for people to learn from their mistakes. That's obviously a why essay. And the other one was write an essay explaining how stress can affect a person's life. I believe one of the earlier ones you had this year was also explain how technology has impacted our society. So the things you need to do for an expository essay, first you've got a plan. And to plan, you need 2 kinds of thinking maps. The first one is the circle map. I'm going to go ahead and do an example here for you. We're going to talk about the explain how, in this particular case, explain how stress can affect a person's life. All right, so in the middle, I'm going to put the word stress. And you should remember the circle map. It's the one that looks like the Death Star or a Pokeball or whatever other nerdy reference you can think of. I'm going to put a whole bunch of things related to stress that I can think of in the middle here, so I can pick and choose what I'm going to put into my essay. Generally, you want to pick one topic and talk about it, but since we're talking about how stress affects our lives, we can talk about the negative ways, which is cool. It's not really cool, but when you have negative coping patterns, you may end up overeating, using addictions to cope, which is not healthy. Unfortunately, a lot of people fall into this trap. This is how you get alcoholism and drug abuse. A lot of times it can be related to stress. Stress eating, people who basically use a food addiction to overcome their stress. So what can it do? Well, how can it affect your lives? You could have poor performance in an area because you're stressed about it. I think you know this from taking tests. So poor performance could be something. I think it's also important to come up with a list of ideas in this circle of times when stress has affected your life or ways it has affected you. For me, stress has caused me to lose sleep. It's caused me to become angry or short-tempered. I could give examples of times when stress has really affected my life. Working at a school. Right now, as many of you know, we're under a lot of pressure to get our grades up as far as how y'all do on your tests. So for me, that's caused me to lose sleep. It's caused me to change the way I teach. There's sometimes positive ways that it changes things. So you can have positive coping skills. It can make you try harder. People give you this stress of like, hey, you got a test and you performed poorly last time. You may decide next time, hey, I'm going to try harder. It can make you plan better. You know what I'm going to do to help cope with the stress? I'm going to go to bed early. I'm going to take my mind off of it. And I'm going to go to bed having studied completely. All right? So stress can affect your life in many, many different ways. So you make this circle map and you start to look at it. And you need to either pick something you can write about from the small part of it, or you can pick an overarching theme that you see. And obviously, I found a lot of negative with stress, which is typically how we view stress. So let's see, I lose sleep, I get angry over addiction. So I'm going to say stress can also affect your health. So the next step from writing a circle map is to plan it out in what we like to call a flow or tree map. So you've got your circle map. You're going to turn the page, grab another piece of paper to plan in your little test booklet when you take your test, or in your notebooks when you're doing notes. So that's the kind of thing you do. Two kinds of maps get combined together to help you plan out your essay. You know from the past that there's something called the flow map, and it's got like, hey, here's my topic of my paragraph, and then it goes logically to my next topic paragraph, and these are the supports down here, right? And it goes in order of events happening. And then you have ways that you categorize things in a tree map like this. Well, what we're going to do is a combination of the two, and they call it a flea map, flow tree map. So when you're making your map of your essay, you're going to have your flow. And you're going to start with your intro paragraph. One thing you need to know about intro paragraphs, when you're only writing a page essay, you don't have much time. Intro paragraphs should be short. They should be 2 to 3 sentences. You should have 1 or 2 sentences that give you the hook. Hey, here's why you should pay attention to this. And then 1 that state the controlling idea or thesis. All right. So if you're doing the controlling idea or thesis, that's what you want to end with, and that's going to tell what your topics are for your paragraphs. So you should get that idea, right? Well, you come down from there and you're flowing into your first body paragraph. And your flow should come down like this, and then your supports come down here like in a tree map when you're listing ideas. So your first body paragraph is going to be here. It's going to flow into your second body paragraph. Your supports here. Now, again, with a 1-page essay, I recommend only 2 body paragraphs. You can't really fully develop something if you have 3 body paragraphs because you're not going to have enough supports. You're going to run out of room. And so you can't have this 3rd body paragraph. It's going to be like, oh, I got this, and here you are on page 2 or 3, and you have 1 page, so you can't do that. So you flow directly. Let me erase that. You flow from your second body paragraph, head back, you flow to your conclusion. Again, the conclusion is important, but it is not the meat of your paper. You need to think of your paper as a sandwich. You got a thin piece of bread, a thin piece of bread. You need some good meat, some good cheese in here. All right, something fat that tastes good that's going to fill you up because you can't live on bread alone. You should have 2 to 3 sentences. You should restate your opening, okay? And then you should have some kind of conclusion telling us what you're walking away from this with. Hey, stress is important, and you need to plan for it to be able to cope with it. All right, so let's go ahead and take that circle map and fill this in. All right, if I'm going to write my hook, I might write a crazy intro where, there I stood. On the outside of the classroom. I was sweating profusely. We used to sweating. And butterflies swarmed my stomach. Please don't ever use your intro paragraph to say, hi, my name is, and I'm going to tell you about. Or restate the prompt. Don't ever say, hey, stress is a really bad thing. Here's what you should do about it. Or today I'm going to tell you about stress. That is an automatic, I'm going to stab you in the face. Not a 0, not a 1, just I'm angry now. Nobody wants to read that. That is bad writing. Do not write that way. So let's say, the butterflies swarmed in my stomach. There was a math test today because, hey, math tests are worse, right? cause you to perform badly and wreck your health. Here's my hook. This one's a bit long. I would probably edit that down some. Standing outside the classroom, sweating and butterflies swarming in my stomach, I panicked as I realized there was a math test today. Stress can cause you to perform badly and wreck your health. Those are my two topics for my body paragraph. That's my controlling idea and thesis. All right. Stress can do two things: cause you to perform badly. Paragraph 1, wreck your health. So, perform badly. And you talk about what stress does to you. Okay, first of all, it causes you to freeze up. Standing in front of the classroom, that was the moment that the girl I really liked came up to tell me that, hey, I'm free on Friday night. Where are you going to take me on this date you're asking me out on? And I'm like, because I can't tell her because I'm thinking about math class. And she's beautiful, and I'm already stressed about math, and now I'm stressed I'm going to blow with her. So I freeze up, and I'm going to tell a little personal story, like the girl asking me out, where I'm going to go back to this story I started up here. Like the time I took a math test, I'd studied, I knew everything about it, but because I had been stressed about it, I had nightmares the night before, and when it came time to take the test, the first question freaked me out. So I didn't answer questions for 20 minutes. Class is only 45 minutes long. Okay, so after I freeze up, what else does a test cause you to, or stress cause you to do? Stress not only causes you to freeze up, it causes you to forget things. I knew every formula. Couldn't think of them on test day, and you throw that out there. Okay, not only did I freeze up, but once I started to remember things, I forgot stupid little things. I knew that formula, but I forgot what it was a formula for. I forgot how to use it. Is this volume or is this square feet? I don't know. I can't remember the two. So those are things you could have there. And you would go on and have 3 or 4. Second body paragraph, okay, now it wrecks your health. Because I have constant stress in my life to try to pass all these tests, I've started eating too many Takis and hot Cheetos and donuts. I'm eating badly, getting fatter, which is causing my heart rate to go up. And incidentally, it causes me to have high blood pressure to be stressed. Great. So I'm getting fatter and I've got a high blood pressure problem. Now I'm getting both. Tell a personal story. My doctor says I need to eat better and my stress eating is really killing me. All right? Let's put health in here just so we know what we're talking about. I'm also losing sleep. Those nightmares I'm having, yeah, they make it to where I'm stressed about going to sleep. And so when I lie down, I stare at the ceiling for hours and hours. When I lose sleep, that causes me to not be able to cope with stress. It's a vicious cycle. Now I have 2 body paragraphs that tie into my controlling idea. I come over here and I restate in my conclusion. What I've realized from this, probably I'll restate that stress can really destroy your life because it can cause you to perform badly on things that matter, and it can cause your health to go down when you use bad coping mechanisms. What I've learned is that I have to plan appropriately. When I study for the test the night before, I have less stress. I am able to take a few deep breaths. I've also learned to have some coping mechanisms. When you conclude with something that tells what you've learned or how you're changing, or even just to say how you can deal with this problem of what stress is causing, it's going to make your paper stronger. So when you plan these things out, and I know my handwriting's bad, guys, I'm sorry, but when you plan these things out and you fill in these thinking maps, look at how much I can't even fit it all in the boxes. I'm going to get a page out of that. And then after that, it's a quick revision of the rough draft, and I'm done. In fact, I might even be able to turn in the rough draft for an essay. I wouldn't recommend it, but when you're pressed for time, sometimes that's what you have to do. So that's basically how that works. In class today, you will have an opportunity to do this in a group. So hopefully you'll be able to do the circle map and the flow map. I'll be giving you some topics, and you'll be working with your groups and your desk partners there. That's it. Thank you for your time. Have a good day. If I can get it to turn off.